Whoosh. Whoosh.
I'm okay. The spikes broke my fall.
When you perform a jump at the right time at the edge of a ramp, you'll get a higher jump. Steeper ramps like the quarter pipe on Sewer Speedway give you a very high jump, which allows you to enter the shortcut. In Nitro Fueled, how much height you get from the high jump scales a lot more with your speed, meaning when you go really fast, you will get a ridiculously big jump. In general, this speeds the game up a bit and is pretty fun to pull off. In Sewer Speedway though, it means you can fly all the way over the boost pad in the shortcut. Let's take a look at how the ramp works at a slow speed. If you hit jump too late, then you'll get a bad jump. It will not take you far at all. If you get a jump that is at the tip of the ramp, you'll get a high jump and make it into the shortcut. In CTR, jumping too early gets you a moderate jump that still gets you up nearly all the way. The further away from the jump sweet spot, the lower height your moderate jump would have. If you have a slightly too early jump, you'll need to be going slightly faster to compensate. If you have a really early jump, you'll need a really high speed. But this doesn't happen in Nitro Fueled. Instead, when you miss the jump sweet spot by even a little bit, you will get a bad jump that will send you into the wall, even if you have a high speed. Rarely will you be able to make it up like this. Now, while in the air, your kart will become parallel to whatever surface it's above. When going at a higher speed in Nitro Fueled, your kart can tilt into the horizontal part of the quarter pipe, which will give you a bad jump, cutting your timing window even shorter. If you have backwards momentum in Nitro Fueled, your kart will always be given reversing controls. If you miss the shortcut and hit the wall, you naturally hold left to return to the track. But the collision gives you reverse controls, so holding left to turn left actually makes you turn right and start going backwards on the track. In CTR, the kart would only have reversing controls when you are actively reversing. Another issue is crashing into the quarter pipes for no discernible reason. Bam! Kapow! Boom! Hit! Hit! Pow! Bam! 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 In CTR, you can slide over the pipe walls to gain a lot of speed. This does not happen in Nitro Fueled. The steep pipe walls cancel your momentum, whereas in CTR, the walls would let you glide past them easily. The Nitro Fueled walls push you back down onto the track, which in conjunction with the backwards reverse controls can actually cause you to turn around and continue hitting into the wall. There is also push down on the more vertical quarter pipes near the first barrel. The vertical walls can let you slide up them, so stuff like this can happen. The second part of the shortcut tunnel has colliders that are way off from where the objects actually are. It's especially bad since the relic race is designed so that you have to narrowly miss this wall to get the relic crate, but the wall is larger than it appears to be and slaps you away. Slap! This pipe was added after the ramp at the start. If you get a lot of air, you can bump into it and it'll get in your way. In Nitro Fueled, your kart can occasionally get some weird collisions. See how I touch the ground here, and instead of boosting me, it shoves me forward before I get a proper landing? It's also possible to get caught on the shortcut edge. And that's it for Sewer Speedway's issues. As you'd expect, the high jump is much harder to pull off on places such as Crash Curve and especially Dingo Canyon's gravel jumps. In Crash Team Racing, you have a brief period of grace time after falling off an edge where you can still perform a jump. In Nitro Fueled, the air jumping is a bit less forgiving, with fewer frames to perform a jump. Jumps in Nitro Fueled cannot be buffered. In CTR, pressing the jump button too early before touching the ground would still cause you to jump once you hit the ground. This also allowed for an advanced technique, air mini turbos, where you do a drift and a jump at the same time, so you could charge your hang time boost while power sliding in the air. The best example of this is on Tiny Arena. You also cannot froggy anymore, which was an advanced technique that let you rapid jump by holding down L1 and spamming R1 or vice versa. There is one major change to jumping in the game that even manages to surpass the Sewer Speedway issues. On Polar Pass, head up to the seal at the beginning of the map. Go ahead and drive into it. In Nitro Fueled, you can no longer perform jumps while being spun out by a seal. Sliding over a turtle will negate the jump it's supposed to give you. Also, in CTR you could drive onto them, hell, even into them, and they would send you flying regardless of your angle. Now the angle is more strict, which feels a bit clunky. The patch of water here also slows you down a bit. On roost tubes, if you take the middle of this ramp slowly, your cart will get some really insane speed, which you can spam jump to keep afterwards. This is reminiscent of CTR's Speed Ghosts, which was how the game handled downhills and could be used to get a lot of speed. The mechanics here are a bit finicky. If you try going faster or jumping into it, you might not get as much, or any, extra speed. Let's look at some more invisible walls. The hopping in the roost tube shortcut has some ceilings very close to the wall. This was actually in the original game, but now there's nothing there that looks like it should be causing a collision. On Dinger Canyon, the rocks at the split pathways don't have great collision placement. The main issue here is that if you're on the left side of the path and go for the relic time crate, or CTR letter T, you get slapped in the face by a plant. The pillars on Crash Curve don't line up perfectly. These are just the invisible walls that I personally noticed throughout the game. There's bound to be a lot more. Remember the random collisions that happen in the sewer speedway pipe? Turns out they actually happen every once in a while on seemingly any ramp. Here's a nice video compilation put together by Reddit user BaseKyle. Here's a compilation I put together of crashing while driving up ramps in CTR. Now let's look at some various changes to levels. The Blizzard Bluff fence hops are done in a completely different way now. You're gonna have to figure out a new consistent method to take these. Oxide Station's gravity section used to have invisible walls that would keep you in the map. You could still cut through it a bit, but now that's a lot harder. Polar Pass's shortcut doesn't have a cutout in the corner anymore. In CTR, you could use this if you weren't confident in your jump height and wanted an easy way to get through. The Blue Fire boost pad is easy to miss if you have a bit of speed, so you have to really go out of your way, and even then, you can miss it pretty easily. The ledge that was previously drivable will now reset you back onto the map, which I don't see a point in since it just disrupts the flow of the game. Papu's Pyramid Wall also resets the player, but this is specifically done to prevent an unintended skip from CTR. Unintended skips have been patched in general, if you were wondering. Walls in Nitro Fueled are actually very problematic. When you go into them at an angle, you lose a lot of your speed and can even get stuck in them entirely for a second. In CTR, the walls would bounce you off them. I'm sure Dragon Mines comes to mind for a lot of people. It has such a tight turn, you're pretty much expected to experience the wall stop here. You can still use advanced turning techniques to get up quickly. Another place people tend to clip the wall is at the 90-degree turns on Papu's Pyramid. As well as this tunnel on Oxide Station. In CTR, holding the brakes and performing a hard turn will cause the cart to pivot, and also move a small amount in the direction of the turn. Nitro Fueled locks out the left and right movement and only pivots the cart instead. See how in CTR, the cart has moved off to the side, but in Nitro Fueled, it's still lined up with the pattern it was on? This makes the brakes feel a bit slippery and is especially noticeable on the crystal challenges. The Nitro Fueled left-right movement lockout applies to the air as well, so U-turns don't have the smooth, curvy CTR movement anymore. You can still affect the left-right movement using diagonals, so if you hold diagonally down for a little bit at the start of being airborne, you can sort of emulate how it worked in CTR.
Long way.
In Nitro Fueled, when you release the air brake, you will get shoved in whatever direction you are holding. Ultimate Sacred Fire, or USF, now generally called Blue Fire, has been changed. After touching a blue fire pad, which looks the same as normal pads but is usually used for really big jumps, you get a really intense speed boost that will continue until you run out of the reserves you built up. In CTR, the blue fire would be cancelled if you did any other boosts, including hang time boosts. This has changed in Nitro Fueled. Now it's ideal to continuously power slide around the map and keep your blue fire going as long as you can. Blue fire can be kept for laps at a time by skilled players, so this change has a huge effect on how the game is played at a high level on all maps that have the blue fire boost pads. While turning, accelerating and braking simultaneously, the cart now moves forward slowly rather than pivoting on the spot. Reversing while turning in Nitro Fueled works a lot nicer. I'm holding down and right in both clips. Also, braking while reverse turning makes it even tighter. Drifting in the Engine Lab speed tube moves the player, but in CTR, it would not. Here's a comparison of the wheel turning speed. Keep your focus on the front two wheels. CTR takes 3 frames to do a full turn. CTR takes 4 frames to return to neutral. CTR takes 6 frames to go all the way from left to right. You can't run through the Tiger Temple shortcut with the power shield active. I get that it was also like this in CTR, but I'm gonna ding it anyway.